Hello, ladies and gentlemen, trainers of all disciplines, drafters of all types. Welcome to the MagneZONE. I'm here with three of our usuals. We have Adamant,
Hey, that's me.
Clutch,
Hello.
Sam,
Hey,
and of
I'm
course
here.
myself. Normally we'd also have Omega, but that boy has been very busy with school.
He might hop in a bit.
He might. We can hope.
We just saw him come online.
Oh, that's good. I hope he jumps in because I miss him.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're gonna quick brief overview. We're gonna go over our general topic. Yes, that's right. We're finally back to general topics. It seems like forever, but it's only been a couple episodes. And our general topic today is talking about your free agent transactions and how, like, when and how you should use them. That's not necessarily how and when you will use them, but how you should hopefully use them. And then after that, we're going to talk about week one of the RDL. Probably not going to go too into detail because it's only week one. So, and also there's been, speaking of free agent transactions, there's been quite a few already. So we'll talk about those. So starting off, let's talk about, so we've got free agent transactions, and this is part of why I wanted to bring this up, because there's been a lot of them, and I think some of them were maybe a little premature, and I made some statements in regards to, because I made some free agent transactions, I'll freely admit, but I don't think mine were premature, where I think some of the free agent transactions that happened were premature, but time will tell. It's one of those things where you got to trust your own coaching instinct. If you think you need to make, like if you think you need a free agent transaction and it's at the end of the day, it's your team. It comes down to your decision. That's the first thing you need to know. Nobody else, like, you can ask for advice, but at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to whether or not you make the transaction. So if you do talk to all these people and they all tell you no, and you still think, you know what, I want to do this, go ahead. It's draft league. As far as I know, there is no draft league out there that's like what you could consider professional level. There's none of us here are making money off of draft league, so like based on performance or anything like that yet. But hey, companies,
unless you're a YouTuber.
I mean, yeah,
That's
but
different,
like they
That's
a lot
kinda
of those
different.
a lot of those YouTubers produce content outside of just their draft league stuff. So
Yeah.
and I would also venture to say that those same YouTubers are also small enough that they're probably not making shit off of any of their videos. You need like 100K subscribers to even consider, and like a bunch of concurrent viewers to even like get a reasonable amount of money off of your videos.
But yeah.
Anyways, yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
One thing I wanted to bring up as well, kind of off what you're saying, is that it is a good idea to go through with free agent transactions when you feel like it's right. You don't want to be too rushed with them for sure, but if you feel like you have a good move, make it. Because I think that you get valuable experience from making free agent transactions, and you can learn a lot from doing that, from making mistakes with it even.
Are you adding it right now?
No. I mean, did you learn something?
Yeah, to never do that again.
I have no clue what you're talking about. I can't think of anything. I can't think of any person who is on this podcast who might have sacked half their team at the trade deadline.
Half a good team.
Yeah. Well, we'll let Adamant talk about the don'ts of free agent transactions.
Ouch.
But a lot of times the reasoning for doing free agent transactions is patching holes in your team that you've noticed that have cropped up in the first couple weeks.
Yep.
Or even before the first couple weeks. The reason I made my week one transactions that are taking effect this week is because I was planning for the match, my week one match with the Charge Bugs, and I noticed while I was planning there were some holes on my team, and there was a couple mons that got dropped from other teams, or well, one mod in particular that got dropped from another team that filled the hole that I was looking to fill perfectly. And so I felt that if I didn't take it now, it was going to get snapped up week 2 before I had a chance to grab it.
Yeah.
And so I took the shot and grabbed it and then made another transaction. But I'll get more into that when we're talking about the actual week 1 transactions.
And I think that's a case where it's really acceptable, right? It's like you saw something that's a hot market item hit the free agent market. You know that it patches a big hole for you, and it'd be a substantial asset. You should absolutely look at moving for it. And that's why I think you made the right call, even though you did make those comments about, I want to play with it 1 week.
Not making the trade.
Well, and right now, like the mon that I traded, the mon that I dropped, it was one of the 2 best killers on my team so far. Which, but I'll also, once we talk about the matches, you'll see why that really doesn't mean jack.
Also, we got an Omega.
We have an Omega.
Hey.
He's here.
Hey. Made it.
Yay. We missed you.
Thank you.
So we were talking about the like do's and don'ts of free agent transactions. The other thing to consider when you're making your free agent transactions is how many you have. Because season 1, we had a lot of free agent transactions, and there were
It was like a max of 3 per week, and you could do as many. It's like 3 per week.
And so
limited.
everyone's team would radically like people were custom building like from the free agent roster for matches.
At Adam.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So like so keep that
Hey,
in
you
mind.
had just as many as I did, Clutch.
You're right.
I think you had more.
I almost feel like I should have made more free agent trades season 1, but anyway.
You took that Jolteon with the swiftness.
Well, because I wanted it, dude. It was on my list.
That was the greatest thing ever.
Oh yeah,
I still don't know why
it
I
was
dropped that.
lightning
It was my
fast.
kill leader at that point.
Wasn't it within like the same 3 minutes or something that you dropped it? Like it was.
It had to be.
It was less than that.
It was like the minute you dropped it. I think I was talking to Mike at the time, and you dropped it, and I was literally like, "Oh shit, he just dropped Jolteon. I'm picking this up."
I think your words were something to the effect of like, "I ran to my computer."
Yeah, something along those lines.
I can only see
I'm searching through the RDL chat. I found it.
Yes.
603. Adam dropped it, and then Cossack picked it up at 605.
Yeah, so within 3 minutes. Oh, I wanted that mon originally.
So
yeah,
it's interesting to me though. I think we have people who have different attitudes towards free agent transactions. It was interesting to me to see. I thought it was a lot of fun the way it happened last season, where there were a whole lot of us who made fairly substantial changes at the last, during the deadline. That was fun because people had their first half teams and people had their second half teams.
Yeah, those transactions like won me the season. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
those transactions lost the season.
A little bit.
Like adding Empoleon and Azu like literally turned my season from 3-2 to 14-4. Like it was like 2 and 3 or something like that. 3-3 to like 14-4. So
well, I'm curious though, like.
And now this season we had I think we had 9 teams out of the 16 already change.
Yeah.
Is it that many?
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
What was the total count for moves? Does anyone remember? It was like 50 something. It's like 40 something. 50.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
At the deadline, it was at least 40 moves that got made at the deadline. It's actually ridiculous.
So far, there were 16 in week 1.
There were
Wow.
I thought there were probably around 10-ish.
No, there were 16 between the 9 coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I just went and counted them.
Wow. So what about like Omega's another one who made fairly substantial midseason changes. He dropped Salamence, and what else did you drop for
I dropped Salamence. I dropped Halucha. Or I just traded Halucha.
That's right.
I dropped who was my original? I dropped Glaceon.
Mhm.
I dropped someone for Thunderous Incarnate. I can't remember my other tier 1 I had early on. I'll look that up real quick.
I thought it was
That was
Salamence, 'cause you had
nice.
Oh, no,
Victini and
that was Salamence. You're right. So I got rid of Salamence. I got rid of Halucha. I got rid of
Mhm.
I got rid of my tier 5 a couple times, and then I got rid of
So
Glaceon.
I did just check. There are 9 total. There are 9 teams that have made free agent transactions in week 1.
That's
The RDL.
So like,
And
Legend
it's not me.
bothers me.
and here's a question as well that I kind of want to pose, because I think out of everyone here, I think 4 out of 5 people did this. When do you know to trade like a high tier Pokemon? Like, let's say you drafted a tier 1 that you were pretty happy with, and
I did that twice last season.
Okay, well,
Oh, yeah.
if we're talking about my high tier trades, most of the time I was not happy with the performance of my high tiers, which is why I was trading them. So, when you're talking about high tier trades, it is always kind of like you have to look, and the first thing you have to look at is, do you think that your low tiers are going to support whatever it is you're picking up? And if they don't, then do you have enough free agent transactions to pick up the support mons you need at the lower tiers? Because let's face facts here. Majority of the time, your team is built around your high tiers. So adjusting your high tiers without adjusting your low tiers can be a recipe for disaster.
I know for me, it was just like, I was just trying, and I could not get Volcanion to work for my playstyle. So I traded it for Conkeldurr, and that thing put in work.
I was the same way with the Salamence. Salamence was a great mon, but without the Z Captain, he had almost no flying stab, and he just could not perform with the team I had.
For me, it's kind of a hindsight thing. I should have traded Chansey for something instead of trading Clefable for Volcania or for Volcarona.
Yeah.
And the other thing you have to consider is like, what mons do you use well? Because frankly, there are certain mons that are just really, really good that some trainers, some coaches just can't use well, and it's not because they're bad coaches. They're just their play style does not mesh with the type of mon it is.
When I added Manaphy last season I dropped Skarmory, I added Manaphy, and I played Manaphy a couple weeks. And I'm like, I can't. I couldn't bring myself to use it at a decent level.
Now,
I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna work.
Something else.
and after I added it, I went, I hate using Manaphy. Why did I do this?
Now, the other thing to consider is if you haven't used them on in a really long time in your draft career, like let's say you used a good example is myself. The first time I ever did Draft League, I drafted Jirachi, and I didn't do well with it. But that was because I was inexperienced. I had no idea what I was doing, and I couldn't really bring out the full utility that Jirachi brought to the table. And I was still finding kind of my style as a coach. So this season I picked up Jirachi, and I think I used it perfectly in my week 1 match. Like I think
click Ironhead
and
tried to
click
Ironhead.
Clinch Knight.
It's kind of like I realized I suddenly it kind of all clicked for me. What you're supposed to do with Jirachi. And granted, that seems simple, like looking on it now, but back when I first was using it and there's all these things it can do, I'm like, and I didn't have Clutch to act as my front office then. That was all decisions I had to make myself.
I still say you should bring that set I put in general.
Maybe when I
build the ultimate secret set.
Maybe in the same week that I bring Flame Orb Facade Diggersby.
Okay.
Dual stab. Hey, okay. Yeah, no, you got dual stab Jirachi there.
It's dual stab.
It is.
It is dual stab.
And you have recovery.
All right.
Fair enough.
Well, before we start just theory crafting Jirachi and making Jirachi suddenly the mon of the week, going back to like free agent trades and when you should do them. I think there's like a sweet spot where, depending on when your trade deadline is, there's actually a time where it might be too late for your team to make any free agent transactions anyway. Like I think those mid-season trades I made, I mean, I still had a chance, but I had to win like every single match after that, and my team was such a mess at that point anyway that like that was highly unlikely. I'd almost say it was almost too late to make those free agent transactions. I still felt it was worth a shot, and it's not to say you shouldn't, even if you like have even if you're like the most outside candidates for playoffs. But keep in mind that if you still have, like, let's say you have your one free agent transaction left and it's at, you know, the like end of the season and you're not making playoffs, there's literally like you are out, it might not be worth using it.
At the same time,
Well,
I mean, is there any harm?
I mean, no, there isn't any harm, and you should still probably do it just to like see, like get intel for next season, like what mons maybe you want to use. Like if you're like kind of like, I want to get used to how this mon works, that's not a bad idea. I'm just saying, like, keep in mind that there's that there is kind of an expiration date for when those are going to be good for your record and like potentially save your record. Because I think the best free agent, one of the best free agent pickups, not the best, but one of the best, was in season 1 when Michael picked up Volcarona.
Jirachi.
No, when he picked up
And
Volcarona. Because he didn't pick up Jirachi until way later. He picked up Volcarona though. He went from a losing streak to utter, like he went losing streak 6-0 with just Volcarona.
12 turns.
Like Joker, like Volcarona,
it was like an 8-turn match.
Yeah, Volcarona literally just swept the whole team and by itself, and then he proceeded to just curb stomp his way back into a playoff slot, and then ended up winning the championships. So,
not just the playoffs, but he was the top seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, which is crazy because up to that point, like. Up to like the midpoint in the season, Adamant and Pack were like trading.
Adamant lost.
We're trading.
I went and
back
lost
and
3-1 to Santoro. And wait, no, he wasn't. I was top seed still.
Yeah.
Oh, he was second seed then. He was the second seed.
Yeah, he was second because
I
lost
Adamant
to
was
Santoro.
top seed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
The only reason Santoro was because Santoro was like what, bottom seed?
Yeah, he was 4.
Yeah.
And the only reason for that, though, is because he inherited a team that had forfeited, like, 2 matches in the very beginning.
He also picked up a broken team, though, so...
Yeah. Dude, my team in season 1 was so bizarre. It was so bizarre.
Hey, at least you could change it frequently.
Yeah. There's a reason it was so bizarre. Because I could change it frequently.
Yeah, so... Do we have any like final kind of wrapping up statements about the topic, or do we want to continue on this?
Just a quick thing. Don't dump your entire team, please. Please.
I agree with that, not just from your personal experience, but also just because if you dump everything and start over, you're probably out of free agent trades and also or transactions. You probably you don't know how your team will handle the new synergy.
Yeah.
That's why it's best to do one at a time, see if they work.
You wanna
versus just doing a mega dump and being stuck with that.
You want to be able to capitalize like on what your team is weak to. Is like when I made the Azu deal like after playing Neek and being walled by like an assault vest mod. Like I had too much special presence. I have this. I get walled by special attackers. I need to have more physical presence in a water type and more physical presence just as a breaker. So I had Zangoose and Azu as like this little physical like fixer upper core, and I ended up like fixing a lot.
Yeah.
And then you had to go and get Normalium Z to make it even worse.
Oh, thank you, Kostak. I do thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem, bruh. I mean, I got Buginium Z through like clever trading.
Triple trade.
Yeah, which is really funny because apparently someone attempted to set up that triple trade and then didn't, and then I just facilitated it. Like I turned around and I was like, "So Nadia, about your Buginium Z."
Because Nadia swapped it with Andrew.
Right.
He had it, and
Yeah, she had Draconium, if I remember correctly, at the beginning of last season.
Yeah,
and then
which really, I mean, Draconium Z with Garchomp on your team is pretty solid.
Yeah, and I was
Until somebody switches in a fairy type.
I was like, Darkinium Z would work real well with your Bisharp, and I mean, like, I'm already in like deep trouble record wise anyway, so like,
might as well.
What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take my 15 seconds of giving Cossack shit.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about how little his Savage spin out from Volcarona did to my Heatran in our. It was nothing.
You predicted it. I'm sorry that you're good at predictions,
Sam.
Heatran.
You can't talk about predicted Z moves, my guy.
That's true. Hey, now, to be fair, I played in an age when Gardevoir didn't have a secondary fairy typing.
That was great.
That was so sad.
Back in my day.
I'm like, man, something's about to die on Adamant's team, and I click the Z move, click Devastating Drake, and here comes this Gardevoir. And only that, and then I switched out because like I was at +2, and I'm like, this Gardevoir comes in because it's scarfed as hell.
Nah, it's Life Orb.
No, lose Life Orb.
So
I was so mad.
I bluffed it so hard.
He got the free switch, and then forced me out because I thought he was scarfed for sure. I was so mad.
So I will say though, another thing that about our free agent stuff that I do want to comment on. Part of the thing with there is a risk to using your free agent trades early, even if they do patch holes on your team, and that is that if you only have a limited amount, like we only have 3, and some teams have already used all 3 before week 2, so their teams are locked that way until week 6, and then after week 6, that's what their teams are. Their teams are whatever at whatever their teams are starting week 7. That's what their teams are going to be for the entire rest of the season, which makes them a lot easier to plan for.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, I think that you could. Go ahead.
I will say though, like, I mean, even when you are planning for a team, you're usually not planning far enough in advance that you're gonna be like analyzing what free agent pickups they're gonna make for your week. So that's something else to consider. But that is a facet of it that you do need to keep in mind. It's not a big thing, but it could come back to bite you depending on the situation.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's wise to like. In RDL we start with 3. I think it's wise to have 1 in the back pocket.
Yeah.
But like if you can make 2 moves on week 1 that you're confident make your team stronger.
Well, I mean that's what I did. That's what a lot of us did.
I did the same thing last season when I dropped Pex week 1 for Gyarados, and then Gyarados came back and got 4 kills.
Dude, you have no idea how much I wanted to pick up that Pex.
Yeah.
You resisted.
I think everyone thought about it. At least it crossed their mind for more than a second.
Pex is just good.
Toxapex? What?
No way.
Cossack wants one of the best Stallmons ever.
It's a wall that's not terribly passive because it has haze.
Right.
It has haze. It can set toxic spikes on you. Like if you just
it's
leave it there, you can't just leave it there. It will mess you up.
And it has regenerator, so even if you do like a little bit of damage to it, and it has recover too, so it has reliable recovery. So it's like, good luck killing it.
I'm pretty sure the Pokemon company is like, how can we screw over the people who play like 6-on-6 singles? Aha, Toxapex.
Yeah. We found it. We found a way to ruin a meta.
Yeah.
Or you can be real and run Baneful Bunker Merciless.
The heat.
Real OGs only.
I actually got goozled by Baneful Bunker in a random battle the other day on Showdown. That was pretty bad.
I think, like on a normal Peck set, I think Baneful Bunker is like the worst move you can possibly have.
Oh yeah, Baneful Bunker is just like absolute trash.
It's like almost entirely useless. Like, hey, let me do nothing, because like you want Scald, you want toxic spikes, you want recovered, and you want haze.
Yeah.
And if you're missing one of those for Baneful Bunker, you're missing something important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we ready to move on?
I
Do
think
we have
so.
any
So let's.
final closing things?
Well, I mean, the only closing statement I think that I feel, because we've kind of gone over everything. The only real closing statement.
Counter team is if you're using a move just purely the counter team, it's possibly the worst move you'll make all season.
Yes. Because especially if you have limited free agent transactions, don't use. Like, look at your team, look at your weaknesses.
Counter teaming itself is like potentially the worst practice you can get into a draft league.
Right, and
because you end up with this amalgamation of random, nonsensical stuff that like beats somebody, but doesn't synergize well, and you'll lose most of your games.
And you'll have bad differentials too. Like a lot of teams that end up this weird, like the weird amalgams you said because of counter team picking, end up getting just utterly thrashed when they run out of free agent transactions or once they hit the trade deadline. Because you might depending on how your free agent season 1, how free agent transactions worked, you could probably counter team all the way up until the trade deadline, and that might get you into playoffs. But once you get there, you're gonna get destroyed by the first cohesive team you run into.
Yep.
So, counter teaming is not a good practice. Don't get into it. Use your free agent transactions carefully and use them wisely. Use them to patch holes. Use them to build a core, maybe. Because you never know. That's why I think the more important reason, this is why, and this is like my closing statement, if you have, it's always a good idea to keep one in the back pocket because you never know when someone's going to drop something that could make your team broken as fuck. Pardon my French. Because, I actually contemplated, because I ditched Slowbro. Now, I contemplated keeping it because I was thinking someone might drop the other half of the regen core. But the thing is, I can't bank on that.
Yeah.
But, it's something to consider. Like, if there's, because, if you have that in the back pocket and, you're looking at the free agent transactions, you see someone drop something and you're like, oh, hey, that just straight up makes my team broken. You have that free agent transaction. You can make that trade right then and there, and have your broken team. You get to have your cake and eat it too.
And as another final thing is know the difference between counter teaming and patching a hole. Right. If you look, it's okay to look at somebody else's team and see oh, I have nothing for this Pokemon. So long as you go the extra step of asking, well, why is that? What am I lacking? What am I missing?
Right, because there's enough overlap in Pokemon roles at all tiers that if you have a crippling weakness to one Pokemon, there's a better than even chance you have a crippling weakness to another Pokemon. So if you take the time to look and see what's causing that crippling weakness, and then patching the weakness, not just patching for a mon, but patching for the weakness itself. That's a good free agent transaction. That's gonna do you.
Every time I play it, that's me. Every time I play Zygarde, I go, "Oh man, what do I have for 1,000 arrows?" And I go, "What is my ground resist ever?"
Yeah, I mean,
you had Shaman.
Yeah, but it's theory-wise, man, how do I deal with this? Come on.
So now that we've talked about
still gets choked by
the whys and hows of free agent transactions, now let's criticize everybody's free agent transactions for week 1 of the RDL.
That sounds great.
Mine included. So I'm gonna go down the line here. So there's been nine teams that have made free agent transactions, and a couple of them have used all their free agent transactions. We'll start with EC Gastrodons because Omega's here, and also it's the first team going down the list that has made a free agent transaction. And you added Mesprit for Registeel, and some people disagreed with that, but I actually think that was a good idea.
I'm still not sold on it, but I think it's the best thing to do, especially with how the Third Reich did in the last match I played him with.
I agree.
You threw it away too early.
I mean. But it comes down to the are you comfortable using it thing too though? If he's not comfortable using Registeel, and he's
I was talking about it in the match.
Right.
How he threw away Registeel too early.
Right.
There's something else I could do though, because I was against the Scarf Crew, so either I switched out and got 2-hit KO'd Con because I couldn't have done anything, or I lost another Mon. I
Yeah.
don't think there's any other options because it was either
Yeah, if you-
Scarf or not. I think it was
if
say
you-
switch into Conk or just drop Conk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you dropped Conk, you might have a better shot.
Mhm.
Well,
This
without
would
Conk,
also
I
work
couldn't
a lot.
KO. There's nothing I had that could have KO'd the Crook without Conk. Nothing I had could have KO'd it.
Mhm.
I don't know.
That was the issue I had.
I don't remember I don't know what's on your team. Anyway, regardless, back to the moves.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I still think that might be a good choice. Well, it remains to be seen. Like you said, you're not sold on it, and you still have 2 free agent picks left, so you can easily fix that if there's like,
Yep.
you can patch that. You've got the space to do that. Now we go to the LA Chargebugs. They made their transactions very quickly. They are ditching Mega Aerodactyl in favor of Mega Blastoise and ditching Mantine in favor of Whimsicott. And that's, I mean, that might not be a bad thing.
I think those are both good.
They're both good. I don't necessarily, because I'm trying to think.
I'm just wondering why he dropped Meg Arrow. Like, what was wrong?
I don't think
with
it's
Mega
synchronize with
Arrow?
his team. I think just because he had the Nido
too much
King.
fun.
Nido King, yeah, I don't think he had a couple ice weaknesses, but just a Mega Arrow, I don't think it went with his team too well because he doesn't have a lot of bulk other than the crest.
Like,
I mean,
think,
so-
Whimsicott gives him.
He already has a very offensive team.
like, Whimsicott's
Yeah,
not
I
a
think
bad
those two
pickup.
the 2 moves added him 2 defoggers. I mean, what defogger and rapid spinner?
Yeah, that was big because he
Yeah, he
a
had
very
zero.
big
Like,
black.
he had zero.
I mean, Arrow
Other
and
than-
Mantine were there, but you're not gonna run defog Arrow unless you're Santoro, and you
And
have to every
Mens.
week because it's your only defogger.
And Mantine.
I mean, you don't, and Mantine
Mantine's
is really
bulk-
passive.
Mantine's
And
bulky,
you don't
but it's
want to
yeah,
run.
yeah.
You don't want to run defog Mets. Like, you don't want to be
No.
forced to run.
You can run
No.
Iron Defense Ments if you want to.
Yeah, but like that doesn't get hazards
You
off the
don't
field.
want
though.
to. That's
No, I know.
You
There's
don't
not a lot
want
you
to
can
run
do with
defog
Ments,
Ments.
especially
Like
with defog.
I think those transactions are actually good transactions. I don't know if it's made any additional holes in his team because I planned for his team, but that was when it had Mega Aerodactyl and Mantine on it. So and I haven't really looked since then.
He still has that. He has the mini core of like an Evire, which is like kind of neat.
I
Um,
mean, he
mean,
does now.
He's got ways of covering like he has
Yeah.
good electric resists around Blastoise. So like
It should also be noted
There
that
are-
he has a really solid Firewater Grass core now because he ran Mega
And
Blastoise and Whimsicott's actually a pretty decent Firewater Grass core. And
he's got the Steel Dragon Fairy as well.
right,
Mhm.
and he's
With
also got Nidoking.
Whimsicott carrying that in there.
Like he's got a lot of poison immunities, so that's really good to have because Whimsicott does not like poison at all, and Mega Blastoise isn't exactly a big fan of it either.
Well,
I think
he's
like
not a
the
big fan
one
of
thing
toxic.
he's lacking
Well,
is a
yeah.
solid fighting type.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
But Kecleon with Drain Punch adamant.
Yeah, but
I mean, I will admit having a solid fighting type is very useful. It's something I wish I had in season 2, and we'll see. We'll talk more on that when we get to my free agent transactions, which are coming up pretty quick
Yeah.
here. But first, we have to talk about Los Angeles Solgalios. They
Oh, wow.
ditched Entei in favor of Azelf. They ditched Nidoqueen in favor of Chandelure, and they ditched MagneZONE in favor of Scrafty.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you know what? This
Yeah.
actually brings up something I was going to bring up exactly at this point, which is that how many of these early week free agent transactions are motivated by the new Z Captain system that we implemented? Because a lot of people aren't as familiar with that system, and I feel like it's almost a situation where they're making
In our
somebody-
league, at least.
in our league, yes. I'm not saying people in general, but just in our league. A lot of the people in our league are not as familiar with that system. So I feel like a lot of people are making their free agent transactions based around either picking up a better Z Captain than what they had, or adjusting support for a Z Captain.
Mhm.
Yep.
And this is one of the prime examples because he had Entei as one of his Z Captains, which Entei is a good not a good Z Captain though.
He wants to run Choice
not
Band
a
and
lot,
wants to
not a lot
run
of good coverage there, especially if you want leftovers or Life Orb or Choice
Well,
Band or anything.
You want one of two things with a Z Captain, in my opinion. One is you want something that when it hits with it maybe only has one or two good options for Z crystals, but those options are so powerful that if it lands with it, that completely turns the tide of the game. Or you want something that can learn pretty much every Z move, and thus they don't know what to plan for.
And that'd be something like Gudra, because it gets
Right.
like at least 10
or Infernate or Starmie.
Let's not talk about that broken team.
I don't even.
So,
I have to face that team.
The fun thing is that we don't even have to talk about it. I didn't make any free agent transactions.
Nope. So what do you think of these transactions? I think the promotion of Zygarde 10% to a Z captain isn't a bad decision.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah,
it's nice. It's a very nice Z captain.
Dropping. I don't know if I think dropping Entei might have been a little far. Like, I mean,
it breaks down steel types for Deancey and Celesteela, but Zygarde 10 kind of already does that, and Chandler does it on the special side.
Yeah,
which I think he might have needed more because
and I feel like that's why he made that transaction. And Azelf actually does give him a lot of options as well, because Azelf can suicide lead with it. You can.
Azelf's got a pretty fun move pool.
Yeah, Azelf has a lot of good utility that I think might be better for his team than Entei. Entei was really good on some teams. We'll get into that in a bit.
I don't think he needed the wall breaking presence that Entei provided.
Right.
Because he has good wall breakers. He has adding Chandler on the special side helps.
Right.
Adding Azelf can help deal with a lot of different coverage options. Mega Deancey's Mega Deancey. Like it should kill things. And Scrafty can help punch through things as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so Magneton's now in the free agent pool for anyone who's wanting Magneton.
He also just added a fire immunity for Celesteela and Amoonguss, and then a ground immunity for the Chandelure and the Mega Deancey.
Yeah.
So he just made his team that much harder to hit.
Right.
Yeah. And that is a good point, actually. He dropped 3 ground weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just made his team a lot more annoying to prepare for.
Yeah. I think especially because he already has a couple ground weaknesses in there. So dropping 3 was probably a smart decision. And I think his pickups definitely again, this comes down to patching holes. So I think the by and large good choices there. Now we get to Liverpool. These are my transactions. I dropped Slowbro and picked up Entei, and I dropped Charizard and picked up Passimian. So Entei gets dropped by Los Angeles, or by the Solgalios, because there's 2 Los Angeles teams. And this is what I'm talking about when you see something that perfectly patches up a hole and you just need to snap it up then. That's the situation here, because I'm like, Entei's tier 2 and it's really good. I need to get this now before somebody else decides they want it and picks it up. Because frankly, tier 2, the pickings in tier 2 are really sparse. There is not a lot left in tier 2. And I could have picked up Como in tier 2, but the problem is I already have 2 dragons on my team.
Yeah.
And quadrupling down on the fairy weakness, because I get a second quad weakness to fairy with that pickup, which was not appealing to me at all.
I understand.
And the rest of the mons in tier 2 are really good, but they're all water types, which I was trying to get rid of. I'm like, no, I'm trying to get rid of water types, not add more.
And that's a case where if Entei hadn't been available, you probably would have been able to be content and sit on the current team you have until somebody else made a move.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I was waiting for. Really, was someone to make a move to drop something that I to fill the hole that I needed. Yeah. And so when I picked up Entei, I didn't need Charizard anymore, because the only reason I drafted Charizard was to patch up my need of an offensive fire type. And frankly, I think low tier fightings are better than low tier fire mons most of the time. which is why I picked up Passimian, because I did want a dedicated fighting.
Passimians are really good in tier 5.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like,
it also adds another U-turner to my team. So like, I've got a team of volt switchers and U-turners, and also Entei, who's one of the best volt turning and he's one of the best volt turning targets. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And you got this Mega Ampharos, and you have a Digger's Beat. You just slap a choice band on, and you click a button.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. That assumes that the happiness is maximized first, though.
Oh, jeez.
We'll get into that when we talk about the week 1 matches. Let's move on to the Ohio Ninetales. Mike making some free agent transactions as well. He dropped Regice for Claydol and Persian A for Lurantis. So Alolan Persian and Regice, I know I just pronounced it 2 different ways for the Persian, but I never really am sure how to pronounce it. And I think these are moves that I'm curious to see the payoff of.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're bad moves, but they're moves that are less clear cut than, like, say the Solgalios, where they ditched 3 ground weaknesses and boom, that's it. Because, like, I feel like he could have gone either way on these. I'm not saying these are bad by any stretch. He clearly has a plan in place, and it's Michael, so it's probably a pretty good plan.
I'm pretty sure his plan was removal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he really needed it.
That's true. I think the Claydol pickup was definitely a good choice.
It needs a rapid spinner for spike stacking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That move makes sense to me. I think that Claydol is actually a solid tier 5 on the right team. Like, it's got decent bulk and everything.
Lurantis is also a good utility mon that can easily just contrary up and sweep you.
That's true. Lurantis, I think
a sweep you is just so slow.
But yeah, that's the thing. He ditched speed in favor of utility, is what he did there.
But he has webs.
That's true.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like his team on webs, but, like, I don't know how Lurantis fits.
To be fair,
like,
though, he already has speed on his team because he's got Mega Charizard Y. And like.
And Keldeo and Galvantula
and Lando
and Lycanroc midday is pretty fast too.
Yeah.
Like.
I just realized how much I want to make a poster that says these are your speed tiers, followed by these are your speed tiers on webs.
Yeah.
It's like this is your brain on drugs, but hey.
Like have it on the front of the shirt.
Version.
On the front of the shirt is this is your speed tiers, and then on the back of the shirt, this is your speed tiers on webs.
Yeah.
If we ever get MagneZONE merch going, like if we ever get big enough to have merch, I'll keep that in mind.
I feel like Flame Orb facade shirts come first.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
And it's just gonna have a big picture of Salamence with a flaming orb in one hand.
And just me crying in a corner in the other?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Oh jeez.
No, and it's gonna have the flame orb, and then it's gonna have like the little move meter, the little move chooser thing.
I'll contact it.
And it's gonna have facade like highlighted, and then it's gonna have in big bold letters. Bet you wish you had a normal resist, right?
Bet you wish you had a ghost type.
Yeah, bet you wish you had a ghost type.
I'll contact Grounded Gliscor right away, and we can get this thing commissioned.
Oh, excellent. So moving on to the to Ballistic in Oregon, he had 1 free agency pickup. He made it very quickly. It was almost right off the bat. A few of them were. This was one of them. He dropped Xatu for Misdreavus, and I'm wondering if that's not premature because Xatu got 3 kills in the last match.
Maybe.
I mean, just because it does well in one match doesn't mean it's going to do well. Like,
and I did mention that earlier. So,
I mean, it gave him a ghost type that we were just talking about.
Yeah, it does give him the ghost type, and we'll see how it goes. I think the ghost type will actually be better for his team than Xatu was for sure.
It also makes him kind of super weak to knockoff with dual Eviolites.
That's true.
Yeah, Misdreavus and Clefairy. And Clefairy
is
he has
He has Mega Houndoom, which does not mind taking knockoffs whatsoever.
That's true.
And he also has Stack Attacker, which doesn't mind taking knockoffs either.
Captain Stack Attacker.
Yeah, Z Stack Attacker. Zygarde is bulky enough to take a knockoff comfortably. Hitmontop will also take one comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess he does have the dark resists. I mean,
right. I think he's got I think it's balanced enough. I think he's gonna be fine. No, I mean it's gonna probably hurt him, but not badly enough to potentially lose him a game or anything like that. Like it's gonna happen at least once. But
it's gonna help him just fine.
Well, because like it's not like his high tier mon relies on Eviolite. It's not like he's running Chansey. So like basically Mischievous and Clefairy are there to do a job, and as long as they get that job done before their Eviolite gets knocked off, then it doesn't really matter after that point.
Or even when their Eviolite is getting knocked off.
Right. So as long as their job gets done, it matters not, basically. I don't think he's gonna have to lose any sleep over that. It'd be one thing if he had a high tier and a low tier mon both using Eviolite, or even a mid tier mon.
Like he's got the answers, and Zapdos can get taken knockoff. And
oh yeah, Zapdos is a troublesome mon.
Well, and especially with static being all like the way it is now.
So moving on, we're gonna Pittsburgh has made one transaction. They dropped Blastoise in favor of Kabutops.
A spinner for a spinner.
A spinner for a spinner.
But a rain sweeper on a sand team.
I'm not. So this is one of the ones I think I'm most iffy about.
It's an odd move.
It's now granted, Kabutops doesn't get damaged by Sandstorm, right? Because it's
nope.
Yeah, it's rock type,
and it gets a Spadef boost.
But I'm not certain that was worth dropping Blastoise over.
Like his water resists are now superior and
superior
and Noivern
and
Noivern, but both of them are covered by the same coverage move, which is Ice Beam or Hidden Power Ice.
And neither of them are too bulky either.
No, Noivern doesn't like
getting hit. Serp can carry some bulk.
Serp can eat a hit.
I feel like he would have been better off keeping Blastoise as a rapid spinner pivot, basically. Like if he's gonna if he's looking like, you know, of the two, if the transaction was predicated upon having something that doesn't get hurt by Sandstorm, that's not what you want to like be considering with sand teams. It's too easy of a trap to fall into.
Yeah, Blastoise is. I mean, does Blastoise get Aqua Jet?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. So it's not like, I mean, he's adding a little bit of stronger priority. He gets another Stone Edge user. But, I mean, he has Tyranitar, who's going to be firing off massive power Stone Edges anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's got Edgequake coverage already. And, like, I don't know. The other thing is Blastoise can potentially be run as a special attacker. And he doesn't. So, like, he has less special attackers now and has very heavily tilted towards physical.
He has superior Jolteon, Togekiss, and Noivern.
I mean, that's true.
So and Rotom Ghost.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of I don't like losing bulk, so I'm very slanted when like someone drops bulk in favor of something that's not as bulky. That I mean,
I do kind of
it
wonder.
does get a Spadef boost in sand, so that's not.
But but like he has T-Tar, and it's already a really good rock type, and like
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
And you know what? We could be proven wrong here.
I don't know what to do with it. Very much, yeah.
We could be proven wrong here. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it works out. Because clearly he's got a plan in mind, or of some sort.
You think?
I hope. I would hope that's the case here.
Rain Dance Jolteon 1 week.
Good Z Rain Dance.
I mean, hey.
And then drop Thunders.
I've seen weirder sets.
Z Rain Dance, right? I've seen this replay of like a Z Rain Dance, like.
Never mind.
Yeah, I said that and I was like, oh wait.
Z Rain Dance superior.
So another drop that. So we go into San Antonio. We skip over a couple teams. We go straight into San Antonio. And they dropped Durant, who was one of their Z captains, and they made Manaphy the Z captain now, which I think was infinitely better.
Oh yes,
because Durant
Z Manaphy is terrifying.
There's better items to put on Durant than a Z crystal.
No, Durant likes the Z move because it still gets the hustle boost off the Z move.
Yeah, you're right. But I still think Manaphy is better.
Manaphy's an immensely great Z captain.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. Also, I think just the Durant on this team really. Oh, I was talking to Dominator about it. He got rid of Durant for several reasons. He had a bad weakness against fire if he did the levitate bronzong instead of the heat proof. But a ton of other things with the Lucario, with the Virizion, he wanted to bring Virizion because he needed something fast. He wanted something that could be special, more so than physical. And so that's why he went with Virizion.
Virizion was a good pickup. I was gonna pick up Virizion until he picked it up. Like that was what I was gonna do for my fighting type. I was gonna ditch my tier 4 for Virizion.
Still, Durant was a good pick that he had because I was so worried he'd bring that. Since he already dropped it, I didn't prep for it. But that thing could have been so scary with the Hustle Boost and Superpower or X-Scissor or whatever, Iron Head. That thing is crazy.
Durant's a really cool mon, but like its speed tier is awkward, so it gets revenged by a lot of common scarfers, and its speed def is really terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to have a really, really clean situation to get Durant like in a spot. I mean, I swept. Like, I did a lot of work against Storm in like season 1, but like.
Well, the trick, because the thing with Durant is
because
really its speed def is so bad. Even special hits that it would normally resist could potentially put it very low.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like a volt switch or anything. I mean, a lot of things neutral to it KO it.
Volt switches. It hates scalds too.
So
it'll drop it. It'll drop
plenty of damage.
Now it sounds kind of like we're crapping on Durant, but I'll let you guys know. Like I had a draft team that was put together with a Durant core. Like that was the idea behind one of my potential teams that I was going to pick up this season. I didn't end up picking up that team, but that's because I picked up Jirachi and I had a completely different line I wanted to go off of that.
Yeah,
but Durant was there. Like Durant with the right core. Durant is a very deadly sweeper.
It can actually do a lot of damage. Like it's just a really potent Pokemon, but like it's so hard to get in the right spot.
Well, yeah,
it's really hard to
need
position
to have the right
correctly.
Support around it, and I think Virizion's going to be a lot more forgiving to use than Durant in this team.
And Z-Captain Virizion's pretty solid. Just like
if you ever decide, he does have one more switch, so he can switch to Virizion, like switch Virizion to a Z-Captain at any point in the season, which could prove to be very useful for him. So we'll see how that goes. And then we go finally to our last team that's made free agent transactions, San Jose, the Sharpedos. And they dropped, they've used all of their transactions. They've dropped Doublade, Embor, and Ferroseed for Minxiao, Araquanid, and Rotom Frost. So there's that fighting type that you were talking about earlier. They picked one up.
And there's the web. And there's the webs.
Yeah.
Double webs.
More importantly, there's the webs. And Minxiao really likes having those webs on the other team because Minxiao's fast. Fast, but not always quite fast enough. So having
Victini and Garchomp on webs is also, and Victini, Garchomp, and Lycanroc Tusk on webs is really nice.
Yeah,
you're scaring me.
He's got two good web setters.
You're scaring me.
Like he's got two really good web setters. He's got Rabombi and Araquanid now. So you're probably those webs those webs are probably going down on the field. Like you're probably gonna have, and there's a better than even chance that even if you get rid of them the first time, you might have to get rid of them again.
You know what I? Oh, geez, this team's really weak to Stealth Rocks. I just kind of realized that.
That is true. That is, especially with the additions of Rotom Frost and Araquanid.
Two bug types and ice type Victini. Like that's 4 Pokemon that are taking 25%.
And a lot of things that take. I mean, I think Garchomp and MagneZOne, and Minxiao are the only ones that switch in resisting it. So like everything is. I mean, 12.5% on every switch for 8 out of 11
so what you're
mons
saying
in the
is, hey, this is their team until week 6. So anyone who's facing San Jose, bring rocks.
Put rocks.
Well, but also, I just had the thought. I was gonna say having dual web users actually kind of facilitates the potential for
you're forcing your opponent to defog for you.
You're forcing them to defog for you. That's one. I also wonder if he's gonna try and run Light Ball Pikachu.
You could.
Dude, on webs, it's actually
Pikachu with a light ball is dumb.
Yeah.
Because this team, I mean, the one thing, all you need to do is spin. You don't need to defog, and this team can't stop rapid spin. That's the one thing.
But not all teams have a spinner.
No, that's true. But I'm saying for teams with rapid spinners, they're at a huge advantage here versus defoggers.
Yeah,
that's true.
And there are a fair few teams that have spinners.
I kind of want to see Pikachu go in.
But yeah, I
think the way his team is structured, though, it'll be hard to find the time to spin.
Right. I'm not saying this is, and I'm not saying that Stealth Rock weakness is going to utterly cripple this team. I don't think it will, because with the double webs, your opponent has to get rid of those webs. As someone who managed to set webs on himself, I can tell you that webs can, depending on your team, completely cripple you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Shut up, Sam. You don't get to talk here. You're the reason I set webs on myself.
I didn't bring it up. I was just agreeing with you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure. You sure you don't. All right.
I didn't have back-to-back weeks where people set hazards on themselves.
Anyway, moving on. So now we go into the week 1 matchups, and I'm actually gonna just go down. I'm gonna go back to the top and then work my way down again. So we'll start with Akron, and they faced who did they face?
The Rochester.
Yes.
Rochester.
Okay. I kind of had to like look. I'm not used to having this like awesome week tracker on the team boards. It's really useful. Thanks, Mike. This is actually very helpful for us. So it at least gives us a good idea on the kill spread. So the victory went to Akron, and they got it was a 4-0.
Yep.
4-0, and I had to make sure I'm reading this right. I'm not because this is new. This is something new we added to the sheet, so it'll give me some time to get used to reading this. So all of the kills were direct. 3 from MagneZONE, 2 from Primarina.
It's a really offensive game.
And 1 from Tornadoes T. And only the 2 deaths were Rotom Heat and Nihilego.
Oh, that Nihilego got absolutely murked on a misread.
Yeah, so we flip over to the Rochester side, and they brought Darmanitan, Latios, Skarmory, Tapu Koko, Ursaring, and Weavile. Latios and Tapu Koko picked the kills up. Couldn't pick up any other kills besides that, though. So tell us a little bit about that, because this was your match, Adam.
Sure. All right. So going into team prep, I realized Andrew counter-teamed the absolute hell out of me. More specifically, by Mega Latias.
Yeah. He had ways around Mega Latias.
Ways? No, this man got Coco, he got Mega Beedrill, he got Latios, and he got Weavile. This man was set and ready for my Mega Latias.
Okay, so real quick, was his Latios scarfed, out of curiosity?
Specs.
Okay.
Specs.
No, it was Specs.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he sent me, because he showed me the team.
Yeah, I
was gonna say, I'm just gonna ask Clutch from now on if someone was running something, because Clutch, like everyone, Clutch is the front office for everyone.
I think he knows.
Not everyone. There's a good chunk of people I have.
Is there a reason why the team name for Akron has a bunch of T's in it now? Like the where it should say team name? Okay, we're not gonna go into that now. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty one-sided, but like you can tell us a little bit more. I don't want to go too in detail because it
pretty much it came down to me realizing that Walling's team was going to be hard as shit. So I decided to bring dual screens Light Clay Rotom. And get a slow switch into Primarina for free, and then murk something because he had no switch into Specs Primarina.
Yeah, and
so I used Primarina and Torrentee to wear down his walls, and then Mamo just swept.
Makes sense. All right, cool. I like it. Nice and simple. We'll move on to Brooklyn versus Pittsburgh. 3-0. So not a complete blowout, but not necessarily a close match either.
That game was really tight.
Yeah, okay. Kudos to Rich though. He played Santoro really, really well.
Yeah,
I think well, kind of like that game came down to, there was a lack of contrary superior. There was a miss. I guess you consider it a miss gen, even though the game was played on Showdown.
Yeah. The big thing here is that Mega Venusaur picked up 5 kills.
Mega Venusaur could not be broken.
Yeah,
it sat there. It sat there for like the last 30 turns and just would not freaking die.
Speaking of I have my own story of Mons that won't die, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, Suicune also was kind of in that similar category of every time that Suicune came in, Rich had to go to Superior.
Suicune and Mega Venusaur make this ridiculous bulk core, especially with Crobat providing support.
Dude, Santoro's got Suicune, Mega Venusaur, and Arcanine. I mean, it's just like the bulkiest of bulky FWG cores.
Right.
Rich played early game really well, though, because he used Tyranitar to trap and take out Reuniclus.
Yeah, I thought that
was really...
Yeah, it was well played.
Really nicely done.
Yeah. And I think the rematch between these two, because remember, these are conference matches, so these are going to be... There's going to be a rematch, and I think the rematch with Pittsburgh and Brooklyn's going to be one to watch out for, because I think that's going to be a really good match. Because I think what maybe could have helped, obviously Contrary Surf would have helped. If he wasn't Bloom Doom, there may have been a shot of him breaking through Venusaur. Gotcha.
But he was really odd. I think that was an odd choice in his end. Just due to the fact just naturally you break through his water types and everything, and his switches probably gonna end up being Venusaur. Something like a Z Mirror Coat, Z Hyper Beam, something like that. Just to once you get enough chip on it, obviously.
Yeah.
All right.
Because you can build up you get to +2 with the Leaf Storm and then quick Breakneck.
Quick Z Hyper Beam, Z Mirror Coat.
And so moving swiftly along, we have Chicago versus Ohio. And that's another 4-0 here. And this one, I mean, Ferrothorn picked up 3 direct kills. God, I miss Ferrothorn. Snorlax picked up 1. Keldeo picked up 1. Lando T.
Ferrothorn and Fortress were the kill leaders this game.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What kind of game are you playing where Fortress and Ferrothorn are your kill leaders?
The battle of the Steel type, shelled, quad fire weak hazard setters.
What a odd battle. But you know what? That's why we play Draft League, for weird battles like that. And
things where Fortress can put in work, because it's terrible everywhere else.
I'm wondering if we're in yet another situation where Storm was using a team that she's not exactly comfortable with using. I'm not sure. I will say Storm has clearly learned a lot from the previous 2 seasons. But also it's Mike with Ferrothorn, Snorlax, Keldeo, Mega Charizard Y, Kyurem, and Lando T. That's a stacked lineup if I ever saw one.
Because it's Charizard Y with no hazard removal.
That's true.
Well, now he has hazard removal.
He has 2 things that are easily pressured, I think.
I mean,
he has the Ferrothorn though.
If he has 2, his hazard control is fairly easily pressured unless he wants to run Defog Lando, which is
suboptimal. But we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, he's the clear winner here, but it was I didn't watch any. I'm gonna level with you guys. Didn't watch any of these matches this week, except I think I watched Sam's.
Oh yeah, because I made you.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great match.
Yeah, that was a really good.
That
match.
Was such a close match.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of close matches, EC versus San Antonio.
That was a great match.
That was fantastic.
It looked like a great match. Just looking at the kill spreads here, that's nuts.
You guys were on for that video was an hour long.
Yeah, it was a full
about
match.
2 hours. I cut the whole last hour off because basically Dominator and I just sat for an hour and talked, and we had a great time. But it was just a whole thing of I probably should cut this video because there's a lot going on here. Talking about spreads and stuff too for upcoming matches. I don't want to reveal those yet, and you guys are here for the matches, not for the dialogue. So I cut that off.
Yeah. So
but that was such a fun match.
Yeah, it was it looked really close.
I think I'm gonna say the pivotal moment was when he put Kirk in that position to get rid of Reggie Steele, or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
when Reggie Steele went down,
was a big deal. But one thing I talked with him about was for whatever reason I thought that the speed on Heliolisk was the speed on Salazzle. So I thought I had 111, so I would outspeed the Latios. So I wasn't worried about that.
Yeah,
and I was actually 109 to the 110.
That was rough. I was watching the end of that battle and listening to you talk about it, and it was just that hurts, when you think you have a plan to go through.
Yeah.
And you realize
oh no. Yeah,
So,
you were.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a really solid match. I mean, it came down to a few choices. It was cool.
Part of me wished that Reggie would have just sucked that match, but because he did so good, it's like I don't want to lose him even more now.
So moving on now to, I think probably one of the bigger blowouts this week, which was Galesburg versus San Jose.
Blizzcore put on a clinic.
Yup. 5-0'd. So hey, at least they're not pulling a Cossack and getting 6-0'd in the first week. And
Yep.
And the second.
That only happened one season. And
Okay.
I've shush.
I'm just speaking from what I know.
Okay, so Glyscore, my boy.
I think Neek did what I'm looking. I'll spoil it now. What I'm kind of like looking at doing this week and exploiting that Edgequake weakness.
Yeah.
Because it's there and it's enormous.
Yeah, and Empoleon doing, Magmar doing nasty little passive kills. Ugh. Yeah,
Magmar
Neek really likes that Magmar.
Yeah, because it's hard to dispose of.
Rest Magmar.
It's just really annoying to deal with.
Neek does seem to have a thing for occasionally forgetting how many turns sleep lasts, though.
Yeah, he did clip sleep talk once when he woke up.
And he did that in one match last season, or a couple matches last season, although I'm not sure how many.
I think it was on a switch out, too, so I don't know if he forgot that rest
that could be
resets when you switch out, or I don't know.
So we move swiftly along into one of the other close matches this season, which was versus Liverpool BC. Is also, I want to say, the longest match this week because it went to time.
It went to time.
It went to time. So I'm not going to go too much into detail because I could talk about like all the little minutia decisions, but basically nothing happened it was like switch in, switch out, switch in, switch out for like the first 40 turns until something broke. And that was when I think this is one of the key turning points. He left Heatran in, not Scarf Heatran, just regular like defensive Heatran in on Sarina and let it take a high jump kick from Life Orb Sarina, and that put it into the red very early.
Yeah, it seemed like I'm now that I think about it, I'm kind of confused as to why Mence didn't come in there.
I don't know either. I don't know why Mence didn't come in after I took out Electivire either, because I took out Electivire with Hydreigon using Earth Power, and I don't know why he didn't switch it out because I didn't know I figured he was choiced because Electivire commonly runs one choice item or another.
Choice items.
And he used Earthquake, which doesn't hurt Hydreigon, so I don't know why he left it in.
Maybe he predicted your double, predicting him to be Scarfed?
I guess, but like...
And that you maybe going to Jirachi to gain momentum?
Also, Earth Power isn't like it's not a super common
No,
run.
it's not a super common
He probably
run.
thought if I had to guess, he probably thought he could take a hit.
Probably.
Yeah,
but I don't know why he didn't immediately try to revenge with Salamence, or use the opportunity to get a free D dance. Like,
yep.
But I mean, it was a close battle. Like, even so.
Because at that point you'd shown that you were not choiced.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Had you shown him? I know you showed him Ice Beam on Slowbro.
Yeah.
A little bit early, and
well, because I thought he was going to switch to Salamence.
Well, I think the thing is that maybe he just knew that as long as you had Slowbro in the back there was just no breaking through it with Mence. Like he was probably waiting for that thing to be gone, or at least to be damaged enough such that he could KO it.
And you know what? Yeah. Judging by his late game actions, that makes sense. That's probably the case. Mm-hmm. I will say I did kind of top load on stuff that could kill Salamence because that thing is a problem.
Salamence is a threat.
I was surprised at the Crestbring over Hoopa U. But the Crest was like almost my downfall. And
yeah, almost.
He was running, it was 3 attacks and Moonlight. And he used every single one of those Moonlights. I almost killed that damn thing 3 times. I got that thing into the red 3 times.
Yeah.
Chris just doesn't die. But it went to time. All he had left was Cresselia, and I had a full health Hydreigon that had Substitute, and I had Jirachi behind that. So
you were just I mean, you could have had that hit. You could have hit the thing with a Dragon Pulse, and if it had healed, then you just keep clicking Dragon Pulse.
Well, it didn't have any. It didn't have any healing left. I would have hit it with a Dragon Pulse and then Iron Headed it to death. Hopefully, that was the potential plan. If I couldn't, like, if it wasn't going down to timer stall.
I think even if that hadn't gone to time, I think it was in your favor at that point. It wasn't guaranteed.
I'll agree with that statement. It was definitely up in the air though. For sure.
Yeah, it wasn't
timer
over.
As it was, I saw that the timer was ticking down, so I clicked sub, and then he I don't remember what he clicked Moonblast, and then I was there was like 16 seconds left on the timer, and I'm like, well then I guess I'm just waiting 16 seconds, and that's all she wrote. And then we already talked about the Solgalios against Oregon.
I think the next one we haven't talked about is actually, I think, my game.
Yes.
Philadelphia versus Seattle.
And
so wait, did we get Oregon?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because
that was the
we get the Solgalios?
Oh no, we didn't. We totally didn't.
We haven't talked Solgalios yet.
You're right.
You're right.
No, we briefly mentioned it earlier. Is what we did. That's why I thought we had.
Because Zatu put in work. Slowking put in work.
Slowking is really good for this team. I like Slowking on Oregon's team.
It's a really nice SPDF check.
Yeah. Just
general eat some SPDF hits, not die.
And it's a good. It's this weird. It has this weird interaction with Buzzswole. But
that's a really nice little core.
Yeah. Oh, again, Slowking against Buzzswole. Yeah.
That's right. They're not on the same team.
Yeah, they're not on the same team. Now, interesting on he did top load a little bit on Psychic type because he had Zatu and Slowking. He also had Zapdos and Zygarde 50. Mega Houndoom and Cloyster versus Cryogonal, Buzzswole, Celesteela, Melodic, Mega Diancie, and Nidoqueen. And is close match 2-0. So definitely one of the closer matches this week. I mean, I guess it kind of went out. Like, the reason I don't have much to say is it looks like it kind of played out how I guess I would expect this kind of match to play out.
Yeah, sort of. It's a good thing that he was able to break Melodic.
Yes. Well, when you're facing it,
I've seen games very much lost because Melodic sits there and won't die.
I hate that thing.
Well, and
I hate the stupid water snake.
Melodic makes a really good defensive core with Celesteela.
Except for that electric weakness.
Except for the electric weakness, but...
And then there's a Moongus just sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, there's no Moongus this time.
But it exists on the team.
Yeah. But it's on the team,
Yeah, Zatu actually did put in the work here. I can't say too much about this match because it's actually been a while since I've seen it. It was one of the first one. It was the first one up, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. If we're a little light on some of the details in some of these matches, because half of the matches were done before week 1 technically even started in earnest.
Yeah, there were. We could have talked about some of the matches last week if we'd wanted to. Yeah.
But we didn't.
Anyways, do we want to move on?
Yes. Let's move on to Philadelphia versus the Seattle Supersonics.
Oh, see, this is one that I remember pretty well.
What a game.
And again, a very, very close match.
Yeah. Honestly, it was an interesting match. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm proud that I managed to pull it off because I had to play against Lucha when my flying resist right now is Tyrantrum. And Tyrantrum doesn't do too well against Hawlucha.
Dual stab is scary.
Yeah,
it's a really nice combo.
And solid dual stab as well. I mean, it's running high jump kick or drain punch, which are both threatening for Hawlucha because either it's bulky and it's going to heal itself with drain punch, and then it's going to fire off base 110 stab moves off of acrobatics. And like, what are you going to do about it? The thing that almost won Whitehawk the match, and I give him so many props for this, running U-turn on Hawlucha caught me completely off guard. I was convinced that he was going to, like, I had my Starmie in locked into Psychic, and I was convinced that if he outsped, he wasn't going to be able to KO. So he'd either hit me and I'd KO back with Psychic, or he'd switch and something would take an analytic specs stab Psychic. So I thought I had won the game at that point. And the fact that he U-turned, did a huge chunk to Starmie, and then sacked, I think it was Toxapex at that point. Like,
I've never seen a Toxapex just fall over.
Dude, yeah.
So much.
Analytic boosted, specs, stab, modest, Psychic from a Starmie. That was the entire thing.
Literally. Literally was a full health Toxapex, and it just fell the hell over.
And the point at which we, like, there's a couple of good things that happened here. I was lucky he sent in his Curem when he did. I think he KO'd something of mine with a Volt Switch or something. And I was able to basically bring in Gudra, knowing that his Curem B had just come in, and I was just like, well, I'm just gonna click Draco Meteor and see what happens. Because I was scarfed, and I knew unless he was scarfed, I outsped. So the thing is that actually when I outsped him and KO'd with Draco Meteor, which thank goodness I was modest, I don't think I would have otherwise. He told me later that in the last minute, like when Gudra came back in and KO'd his Scarf Hawlucha, that he didn't realize I was scarfed the first time. He thought he had mis-EV'd Curem B.
Oh.
Yeah, but I actually, like, at the very end, the situation was that I had Scarf Gudra in on Lucha, and I hadn't locked into anything yet, and I had the choice of, like, I'm like, well, I could click a Dragon Stab, like Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, but he has Bulu in the back. Those are his two things left, Hawlucha and Bulu. And I had Infernape in the back at full health. But I figured that if he stayed in, and I went for the Dragon Pulse, then I killed Lucha. If he switched, then, I would do nothing. But Infernape was going to switch in and just fire off a Flare Blitz, and I knew I could take a Woodhammer. So clicking the Dragon Stab at that point, I thought was the best move. And the only way he could have won at that point was switching to Bulu and then immediately predicting my switch to Infernape, which, to be fair, if he had realized, Gudra was scarfed, would not be a hard thing to do. But he would have had to.
It's certainly not an obvious play, though, even if you know your scarf.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like, well, he has one path to win. I'm going to make him find it, and that's, and I was just lucky that he didn't, recognize that I was scarfed,
and that you didn't have Ice Beam.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was packing. Yeah, I was packing. I didn't even think of that until afterwards, that it was like, that would have been nice because it's something that I could click on Lucha where his most obvious switch in would also take super effective damage. Anyways, that's that game. It was a lot of fun. I'm happy I ended up pulling it off. Everything put in work.
And that was the last game.
Sweet.
Cool.
So, on to our Mon of the Week.
Yep.
Great.
We'll have to be pretty quick about it, but our Mon of the Week is Reuni. Now, we've talked a lot about Reuni in the past anyway, so this will actually be a lot of recap. Mainly because it's Clutch's favorite Mon.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's one of my favorite things I've ever used in the format.
I don't understand why. I mean, Reuniclus is just garbage.
It's so awful.
Yeah, it's
Adam has really experience with how bad it is.
It's got two of the worst abilities in the game with Magic Guard and Regenerator. Like, those are bad abilities. Just they're so bad for battling.
Stats total.
Like, its stats are bad. It's got awful.
125 base special attack is terrible.
Like, you should just never draft. You should just never draft this Mon. And you should totally not have it on a team with Stack Attacka.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. His tiny little feet of hands can't even hold a Z crystal.
Yeah. Now, okay, in all seriousness, though, Reuniclus is one of the better Trick Room sweepers, but it also just is really good for other utility outside of that.
Just as a psychic type, it just does so much.
And with Regenerator, it's really good in a regen core with, say, like Mungus or Tangrowth.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
I think Omega has experience firsthand with how frustrating.
All you have to do is
Regenerator.
click Specs Blue Flare and hope for a paralysis to actually kill this stupid thing.
It was so.
He brought mono psychic stab against a team with a Alolan Muck.
Also brought mono psychic stab in the finals and squeaked out that win.
So confused.
Yeah, Reuni's really good.
Dude, I wish I had it so on Adam, my team. The whole thing with me bringing mono psychic, I was comfortable enough wearing down Alolan Muck that I could bring mono psychic and not have and like be able to have just to maybe bluff it, switch it, or just have to switch out. And because I was comfortable with my switch-ins to Alolan Muck that I didn't think I'd have to bring extra coverage for it.
But you had no switch into Mega Metacam.
No, that was Reuniclus. That was it did like 40. Yeah.
Your setup sweeper was also a defensive wall.
Yeah. So
roll compression
is just
because Reuniclus is bad enough where you can use it as a setup sweeper and a defensive wall for a bustedly offensive
like,
bomb.
Obviously, it's trash because of that. Like
obviously, just mono psychic's a really nice defensive typing.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, yeah, look at this mon. It's awful. Its bulk is just the trashiest bulk I've ever seen in my entire life, and its speed is abysmal. Like, why does anyone want this thing on their team?
They literally put it right out of a Jello can. They splashed it onto the field, squeezed it out of his little Jello box, and just said, "Go for it."
I prefer like the Popeye approach, where instead of a Pokeball, it's just a can. And just like Sailor music starts playing, and you're like, dun, 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 and you're like,
is it just me or does this
rip
look
open
like
the top, and then you just like, and then it just kind of jumps out in like a giant block, like cylinder shape, and it just hits the field and spreads.
That seems accurate.
But I mean, it's just it can. The thing with Reuni is it's got offensive and defensive utilities, which makes it really good, as we've established. Anything that can play offense or defense really well is usually sought after quite a bit in draft.
It's move pool, super dynamic, and as a wall, it doesn't care about being toxic because Magic Guard exists.
Yeah.
So it just sits there, and I'm gonna throw toxic on this, and it won't do anything.
And on a super defensive team, it has Regenerator, and if there's something else that has Heal Bell or Aromatherapy, you don't have to worry about toxic then either.
Yeah.
It also has the ability to bait something in, infestation trap, and then take it out.
Yeah.
I beat it just because of its move pool, so that it can really focus quads really well with its move pool. Because I played Sam. When I played Sam last season, I ran Flash Cannon Reuniclus with no special attack investment. It can OHKO no bulk Mega Diancie. So he set up rocks. It's like, this is a free rock switch in, and like free rock setup, and I just immediately proceeded to like OHKO it right out of there.
Yeah.
So like it just the way it is, it's just really useful.
It hits hard. It can provide a nice defensive backbone for a balanced team. It can provide surprising out of the box hitting power. It can calm mind, like
it can knock off, which is also useful.
It also has reliable recovery.
In recover,
yeah. So like recover combined with generator, like regen with any sort of reliable recovery move is just so hard to break. Just because, I can't, I don't move fast enough to recover before I get knocked out. Oh, well, I guess I'll just switch it out and heal it that way. Like, and even then, like, recover combined with magic guard is also nasty, because anything that has recovery that can't get statuses.
Wait, we're talking about regen mons here, and while we're on it, just a quick thought. Why does Tornadus Therian, the big-ass bird, not get roost? It doesn't get roost.
That is weird. That is very weird, actually. Why doesn't it get roost?
It is an enormous bird. I guess it just flies eternally. It never lands.
Which is really funny, because there's some birds that, like, there's some mons that get roost that don't look like they should have roosts.
Cough, Mantine cough.
Yeah, Mantine gets roost.
What kind of sea ray?
It just lands in the ocean and just kind of sits on the ocean.
What kind of sea ray just kind of lands like?
But no, Rabombi, this tiny little bee thing gets roost.
Oh man, I see we've hit another sore spot with Adamant here, but yeah, no, it's a good mon, and
I can imagine like a Mantine perched on a tree just roosting, and Tornadus flying around like, dude, you're in my spot.
Hey.
The thing I would say about this, don't be fooled by the lowish looking defenses, because it's got
the HP stat is dumb.
Because high HP can make up for a lot when it comes down to bulk, like, and it's got out of the box hitting power with that base 125 special attack that you can, if you need to, you can invest in your defenses to bolster them on top of the hit points. Like, yeah. And then if you got Calm Mind going, like, all it takes is 1 or 2 Calm Minds and your SPDEF is ridiculous. So, like, you know,
and you just become like slowly harder to deal with.
Yeah, well, on top of that, like if you know you can do this mono, you know, you mono stab, you get Psychic, Calm Mind, Substitute, and Recover.
Thank God that thing doesn't get stored power.
Oh God, if it got stored power, it would be a tier.
You know, I would have brought.
It'd be
I know you would have brought Calm Mind, Acid Armor, stored power.
Ugh. Like, it's tier 2 right now. I think if it had stored power, it'd be tier 1, right?
No, I go to like S tier.
Yeah, but it'd be.
we're gonna make it the NPA here.
All right. Well, that about covers it for our mon of the week. I have to immediately get out of here.
Wait, we forgot something.
What did we forget?
Quick shout out to Andrew, the daily listener.
Oh yes, of course. Also,
we love you,
we love you.
You're our entire.
This will be
audience.
coming. This one will be posted pretty quick on the heels of our last week podcast, because we recorded that one super late. So, and I haven't posted it yet. I just realized. So, I gotta go. I got things to do. Peace. Bye. Bye. Enjoy your draft leagues. I have work to do. Ah!